Would you rather be with a cheater but rich, or with a loyal but broke partner? Let me know your answer and explanation in the comments section. She met him a few years back and said yes to be his girlfriend a week before her 30th birthday. She was so happy, thinking she had finally found love. Little did she know she had just started digging her own grave. They had only been dating for 8 months. When they first met, everything in her said, he's trouble, but there was something else about him that kept her glued to him. His charm and kindness towards her weak, broke, vulnerable self upon returning to NYC after a brief stint in LA was everything she needed at the time. It felt like he came at the right time in her life when everything was going sour. She had just come off the heels of heartbreak from a previous toxic relationship, and then came the recession. Her career as an actress was put on hold, and she became broke. She was terrified to embark on Plan B to support her Plan A by becoming a yoga teacher, but this guy made it all better by sweeping her off her feet and taking her into his home after only a month of dating. She finally felt like this is what love is supposed to feel like. The passion, the laughs, the deep conversations, waking up to breakfast before teacher training, and arriving home to flowers because of how proud he was of her. He told her about the diamond he had that he couldn't wait to put on her finger. The excitement he felt knowing that she was going to be the mother of his children. The romantic gestures and grandiose words of affirmation, as well as his friends and family confirming that he'd been in love with her for so long, gave her the green light to dive right in, despite observing and hearing stories of mistreatment towards other women and her initial hunch. So when her body started sensing things weren't right a few months into the relationship, her trusted, intelligent sister friends assured her that he was head over heels for her. She must just be projecting past heartbreaks onto him. However, this was different. She had never felt purposefully separated from previous boyfriend's female friends. She had never felt like she was being lied to about minute things like their whereabouts or who they were with. Heartbreak was familiar territory, but cheating and deceit were never part of the equation. Her paranoia escalated over his suspicious behavior as the months unfolded, leading to ugly fights where she was repeatedly told she needed help dealing with her demons, and that there was no conspiracy theory to hurt her. The guilt and shame she felt for creating such crazy scenarios about the man she loved frightened her, and she felt she didn't deserve his love for being so mistrusting. So she continued on, driving her friends insane about even more red flags unfolding, and proceeded to overpost love Devay pictures on social media as a sad attempt to convince both the world and herself that everything was great. And on that freezing Monday night in 2011, a week before her 30th birthday, everything was great. He had just kissed her goodbye, told her how much he loved her, and she was at ease knowing he was exactly where he said he was going for once. It was a rare moment of relief, cozying up with a glass of red wine and looking over the invite for her birthday party on his computer. You'll have to take her word or don't when she says that never in her 30 years had she invaded a boyfriend's privacy. And when he left that night, she had zero intention of snooping because, after all, she was feeling relieved and loved. Looking back, she now sees it as divine intervention when she innocently clicked on the little white envelope at the bottom of his screen and found multiple racy emails to his ex. Your voice message made me want to have phone sex with you. Sorry I missed you, I was at a wedding, which of course made me think of you the whole time. A wedding they were at together, and where she had taken care of his puking, hung over self the next morning. Her stomach dropped. Her breath was gone, and the clothes that she'd been trying to keep warm and immediately drenched in sweat. This was the first piece of evidence she found that confirmed her instincts were accurate. despite his efforts to convince her how damaged she was to believe he'd go astray. He came up with the most cockamamie excuses she so desperately wanted to believe. He got down on his knees, cried actual tears, and begged her to forgive him, reiterating how much he wanted to put that diamond on her finger. It took everything in her to leave. But then, in true form of the classic dance between a narcissist and an empath, she allowed herself to quickly get sucked back in. Without him, she felt like what she imagined a drug addict would feel going through withdrawal. He had been her external source of love that she wasn't able to give herself. She was so desperate to get things back to the way they were in the beginning that she did her best to accept and forgive his laughable explanations in order to move forward. But I am sure it won't shock you to hear that things continued to get worse. He surprised her with the most precious puppy one night. It wasn't for her, but for them to bring them closer together. Again, her body said BS. But she rolled with it, disturbed that she wasn't consulted about it, considering they were working on their relationship to last, a lifetime. Then she found a pair of underwear that wasn't hers. More excuses, and she let it go. Then she discovered he got the dog with another woman. More excuses, and she let it go. Then a second pair of underwear appeared in the hamper. The universe was repeatedly serving the ugly truth on a silver platter, but she kept pushing it away. She was so far gone to the point that she'd much rather believe she was the crazy, paranoid, insecure woman he painted her to be, than have him be the textbook description of a narcissistic sociopath that she felt incapable of not loving. She had already been convinced by him and trusted loved ones that it was she who was the problem. So if they were all wrong this whole time, she thought she'd be certifiable. So she became a shell of a person. 10 pounds underweight, clumps of hair falling out in the shower, and red welts developed on her face. Her physical appearance got so bad that a casting director told her agent he wouldn't audition her until she got better. And she felt so much shame preaching peace and love to her yoga students while she literally felt like she was dying inside. Another blowout on the street finally culminated the relationship in June after more shady behavior unfolded. And as she embarked on a challenging road to recovery, desperately searching for who she was again, his tangled web of lies unraveled through more acts of divine intervention, confirming that all her hunches and fears over the previous year were 100% valid. Narcissistic sociopaths idealize you, devalue you, discard you, and suck you back in until they can't get what they need or want from you anymore, get caught, or have a new victim to prey on. Not only do narcissistic sociopaths go to great lengths to gaslight you, hooking into all of your weaknesses, convincing you you're the crazy one, but then they defame you to mutual friends, coworkers, anyone you both know, making sure they all learn how insane you are as a protective measure to preserve their image. The most priceless and precious asset they own. During that horrific time, she tried multiple crappy therapists and would leave sessions feeling worse. She remembers saying to a friend, "I need someone a little older and wiser who gets all of me and understands what I've been through." 10 years later, she now has the ability to say no without apology, creating more room for her yeses. She asks for what she needs in all of her close relationships, especially with the love of her life, without shaming or labeling herself as too needy or unworthy. And she is so obsessed with her boundaries that they have allowed her to get to know and authentically love who she is, regardless of who does or doesn't in her external world. Healing after heartbreak can be difficult, but not impossible. Here are a few things she did which helped her immensely on her journey to recovery. Firstly, give yourself time. You need to give yourself that time to heal. No one can heal you but yourself. Suffering your emotions only prolongs the pain, psychologist Catherine Woodward Thomas. It is okay to need time in order to process your feelings. This time gives you room to appreciate and love yourself more. Allow yourself to feel the feels. Grieve it. Feel sad, says Dural. If you are able to cry, cry about it. I'm a big fan of advocating for emotional expression. You don't want anything to build up inside. If you find yourself in that melancholy stage, let it all out. It's healthy. The more you fight it, the more difficult it becomes for you. You must just let the emotions pass through you, and you will emerge stronger and wiser. Stop labeling the blame on yourself. Regardless of why your relationship ended, blaming yourself won't help you, or neither will it change the way things are. So, quit the self-blame. Most at times your relationships fail for reasons beyond your control. Show yourself kindness. Ask for help. Talk to someone about how you feel inside. It helps to lessen the burden you are carrying. Your friends, family members, or a therapist, whichever makes you feel safe. At least you have someone you can trust with your feelings, someone who will not judge you. Lean on people who love you. There is nothing wrong with asking for help. Lastly, focus on building yourself. A research by Shelley Gable shows that personal growth is key after a heartbreak. Bring back those good old days, the fun trips. Try to visit those places you have been wishing and procrastinating to go there. Focus on your personal growth. The more invested you are in yourself, the stronger you will come out to be. The dreams you have for yourself, go for it. A breakup is not the end of the world. Your life is not supposed to be shut down because a Moran broke your heart. Do you have a heartbreak story inside you, and how you struggled to overcome it with your brave spirit? Kindly share it with us. You never know who can connect with your story and get the courage to keep moving ahead.